So it is that time. This week's AEW Dynamite recap. This week's Dynamite takes place at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium in St. Paul, Minnesota. A 5,000 seater. That on October 1st of year 2000. They hosted ECW's Anarchy Rules. I'm not sure if I got that live. I think I might have seen it on tape. But that's the one where Jerry Lynn won the ECW World Title from Just Incredible. Uh, and I think it's one. I think it's one of the. If it's not the last ECW pay per view, I think it's the one of the last ECW pay per views they had. Was Anarchy Rules. But anyway, so kicking off Dynamite this week, big important match, big bunny match, high stakes, somebody's EVP status versus someone's number one contendership for the AEW World Championship. It was Kenny Omega versus Swerve Strickland. And of course, they kicked this thing off. I'm not sure why it wasn't the main event. Maybe, Kenny's like, okay, I got too much other stuff to do. Let me do my match first so I can do my EVP stuff. Or Swerve was like, you know what? I want to do my match first so I can get the hell home. But anyway, yes. On top of that is just a match that's on the Wednesday night show, Dynamite. But anyway, pretty good match here. Fans were didn't seem to wake up until uh, later on in the match or later on in in the show. You had a few spatterings of let's go Kenny and stuff like that. A few boos from Swerve Strickland. Omega countered a big pressure with a victory roll for a 2 count. Swerve came back with a house call. And with a house call, Omega was draped over the middle rope. Uh, Swerve went to the top rope, hit a big stomp on him, then went back to the top rope, hit the Swerve stomp. 1, 2. Kenny kicks out. Kenny makes a big comeback, of course, with some knee strikes. Strickland would hit a vertebraker for another 2 count. Kenny hit another feed trigger, then won it with the one winged angel, fair square, no shenanigans. Uh, Kenny wins. Now he is not only the EVP, he is the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. Hang with me, folks. I ain't got too many visuals with this. I couldn't find a couple of them. We had a mixed trios match with the Death Riders versus Top Flight and Zeta Steel. In this match, they did give a lot to Top Flight, but in reality, they were actually once contenders at one time. Uh, they were trying to push Top Flight at one time, but now they kind of, I guess, drifted off to Collision Hell. But um, Garcia would have locked the Dragon Slayer on Darius Martin. Moxley followed up with a stomp. Garcia covered him for the win. So uh, Death Rise win this one. Uh, Will Ospreay, previous to this match, had I guess, a pre-recorded interview saying, he wants John Moxley at Dynasty coming up. I think he's going to have a match with Pac first. But John Moxley got on the mic and said, hey, if you want me, you got me. So it will be John Moxley and Will Ospreay for at the Dynasty pay-per-view coming up. After that, we had Speedball Bailey versus Rocky Romero. Very quick match. Uh, Speedball wins with the Ultima Weapon. See, that's what I don't get sometimes. It's like that match, it could have been a little more competitive. Would make sense, but then, yeah, never mind. Never mind. Anyway, and coming out to grace us with his presence is the AEW World Champion, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. He does his usual stuff. I will say the line about he's the man that hanged the hangman. That was pretty good. That was decent. Kenny comes in. Kenny said, "Hey, if you're considering yourself the devil, you know some people do call me the god of wrestling. I'm not down with that, but hey, if you're the devil, then a god am I." Was that over the top? I don't know. Oh, anyway, um, not a Batman Forever. Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Not a great Batman movie, but still better than Batman Robin. And I'd almost say it's better than the new Batman. The new Batman was at best. But I digress. So yes, uh, this sets up for their match for Dynasty. It will be Kenny Omega versus MJF for the AEW World Championship come Dynasty. I used to be a TV show in the 80s too. Didn't like that one. It's soap opera. I was a kid. Anyway, tag team match up next. We had Orange Cassidy and Roger Strong versus the Dogs. David Finlay and Clark Connors. Very good match here. I really dug it. Dogs win with what used to be called it's, what they called it? They call it the full clip. Used to be called the rocker dropper. It's basically one person had him in the suplex. Um, Connors came through like a spear from the top rope. Uh, Mario Jannetty would come out with a crossbody block. They were the first ones that the Midnight Rockers did it. Pirates of Pain did a move like this too back in the day. Yes, I know I watched way too much wrestling in my youth and sometimes now. Anyway, so yes, it was the Dogs win this one. Good match. Hopefully, hopefully they can elevate these two. Second time I've seen them, I'm getting kind of impressed. Um, they give what's his name, Clark Connors, a hard time. First time I seen him, I was like, gosh, this guy looks straight from the trailer park. But as a team, they're pretty good. Not sure if I would like to see a tag match with Gabe Kidd and Finley, see how well they do. I think they will be a little more over. Have or Clark Connors be like a mouthpiece, almost like a Freebirds type deal. They can win the tag team titles and do the Freebird rule. Come on, people. Gotta hire me for creative. Just kidding. All right, next up we had a match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Mina Shirakawa challenging the champion, of course, Tekla. Tekla will win this by using probably the biggest pair of brass knuckles I've ever seen anybody use. I mean, usually you see them taped, it's something like taped up or whatever. They call it brass knuckles, but man, these things. I mean, at least she had. I mean, I'm not going to measure hands or anything, but at least she has. Unless she has like very very small hands, they. In other words, I'm not sure how the referee missed it, but totally missed it. She did use the pair of brass knuckles to knock out Mina and get the win. And for your main event tonight, in a falls count anywhere, no DQ match, or I don't think it's falls count anywhere. It's like no DQ match. Basically, uh, basic street fight, hardcore match, whatever you want to call it. This was it. Not sure why they had this between these two. I mean, even if uh, MJF paid off Don Callis to help take care of Darby Allin, they could have still done this like a regular match and have the anyway. Uh, like I said, it is what it is. Um, Rush or it's Darby Allin versus Roosh. Roosh missed the bull's horn in the corner. Allin catched Roosh's legs for the Scorpion Deadlock, but he rolled it into I think it was called the Gibson leg lock. Ricky and Robert Gibson used this move, um, but did that. cradled him up, got the 3 count. As Allin was separated, he would get attacked by Mark Davis, as well as Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero, and Lance Archer. Uh, Andrade, he's not so cool with Don Callis doing business with MJF, so they kind of sat in the corner, argued. Um, now, in saying this, now I do this. I'm hoping to try to be a little entertaining and just have something for everybody to kind of relax to, have fun with. Talk about wrestling. But I just can't help it. I'm not one of these virtue uh, signalers or anything like that. It's just it's kind of disturbing, really disturbing. Uh, this the racism coming out of the St. Paul, Minnesota crowd. I mean, the racist stereotyping, profiling, wherever you want to call it, and thinking that Rouge, a Mexican wrestler from Mexico, uh, did not have didn't go through the proper channels, or is I'm not sure if he's a citizen here or not, but at least I'm pretty sure I, I believe he had the proper paperwork and went through the proper channels to be able to work in the United States legally. But like I said, the racism from the Minnesota crowd when they said "F ice," thinking that what because he's Mexican, you don't think he had the proper paperwork done and all that to be here legally in one way or the other. I mean that's pretty sad. Last time I was at an AEW show, they ran a thing. I'm not reading it. I'm not saying it word for word, but it kind of says respect people of other uh, races, genders, and all that stuff. But then the crowd kind of just with their racist profiling and stereotyping this Mexican wrestler, is pretty disturbing. I hope Tony Khan addresses this soon and says, this kind of race, especially, coming from the fans, okay? This puts a blackout on all wrestling fans. They're there to cheer and boo their favorite wrestlers or they cheer their favorite wrestlers, boo the wrestlers they hate until they turn babyface and they'll cheer them, eventually. Anyway, just play along, have a good time. Then here's this crowd saying F ice, thinking this Mexican wrestler did not go through proper channels. Um, very sad indeed. Do better, folks. Just do better. Anyway, that concludes this week's AEW Dynamite recap. Uh, Now am recording this, so I'm not ending the spot show live stream. So, uh, with that being said, those of you just gonna be watching this AEW Dynamite recap, hope you folks have a good one. Take it easy, and until next time.